Hello, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm recording solo today. I want to share about my postpartum journey so far. Tomorrow it'll be 12 weeks since Jax was born. I want to start by saying my purpose in sharing my story is not to seem as if I'm complaining or ungrateful for my beautiful, healthy baby boy. Sharing is a way to connect with others. If you've been through something similar, know that you're not alone. I got pregnant in May. The school year ended, and then I also stopped teaching at the same time. So pregnancy was like my main focus. I had made like a birth plan, I had this idea that I wanted a calm environment. I debated even using an epidural if you watched our birth story. So I definitely had some ideas going into it about what I wanted. So that was the first thing that surprised me, was just labor. How intense it was, how the epidural didn't necessarily work the whole time, that I felt a lot more than I anticipated. The next thing that surprised me, the emotions I felt when Jax was born. So after that last push and he spit on my chest, that initial feeling I thought would just be complete happiness. You see that? I'm gonna get emotional. You see in movies and on social media and wherever that when your baby's born, there's this expectation that you're just so happy, you're crying tears of joy. But the emotion I felt was relief. Relief that it was over, relief that he was okay. And it wasn't the reaction that I thought I'd have. That was really hard. Jordan had a very emotional reaction to Jax's birth. And I was like jealous. The next experience that was challenging was my breastfeeding journey. If you asked me when I was pregnant, are you gonna breastfeed? I would have said, of course. I assumed if I want to do it, then I'll be able to do it. The first day, evening that Jax was here, it went okay. That second day, your hormones are all over the place, so it was even harder because I was just a wreck emotionally, and then breastfeeding started to deteriorate. I saw a lactation consultant in the hospital, and she said that my anatomy was good for breastfeeding. She didn't think he had a tongue tie at the time, and eventually just said, well, he needs to eat, so let's give him formula. Not that I'm against formula. Jax gets formula now. I think the reason why it was such a hard thing for me to struggle with it is I felt like a failure. It was like one of the first things that I feel like I was failing at as a mother. I think many first-time moms aren't prepared for breastfeeding and how hard it is. The weekend after he was born, so it was like 5 days later, I had a lactation consultant come to our house. She was here for about like 2 hours. She looked at Jax's mouth and she felt he did have a tongue tie. He was spitting up a lot. She felt like he wasn't able to suck very well. So it was concerning, and he needed him to get back to his birth weight, and he wasn't. So we had the tongue tie procedure done, which I did not know anything really about. There's a recovery process. You have to do exercises with your baby and stick your little finger in their mouth, make their tongue move around. They hate it. I hated doing it. Also, it was like one more thing to add on to the list of things to do during the day. So at this point, I had been told to pump. My milk was super late coming in. I didn't have a big supply. He wasn't latching on. So pumping every 2 to 3 hours, giving Tylenol now for him every 4 hours, making sure he's getting fed every 2 hours, napping. It was just too much. Luckily, we have great support from our parents. They live in town. I'm dealing with the physical recovery of postpartum, dealing with his tongue tie, my breastfeeding struggles, the emotions being all over the place. And then on the 23rd, in the middle of the night, I woke up in extreme pain. I could hardly walk. I was in so much pain. I had to wake up Jordan and our 16-day-old child and go to the ER. I had blood work done, a CT scan. During the CT scan, they found fluid around my uterus, so they ordered an ultrasound. On the ultrasound, they could only do abdominal because I was postpartum, and they couldn't locate my right ovary. I didn't know what was going on. My emotions were still really intense, and I thought I might lose my ovary. I wake up and my doctor tells me that there was no torsion. My ovary was just kind of tucked back, like hidden. There was some inflammation and some fluid, and I cleaned it up, and tested it, and it seemed like it was fine. I'm grateful that I'm okay. I have both ovaries still. Physically, mentally, emotionally, I was so overwhelmed. One of the most important parts to talk about is the mental and emotional recovery from giving birth. I definitely have some postpartum anxiety. I hear phantom cries. I was having chest tightness, which I later realized was connected to my anxiety. That's not a normal physical symptom postpartum. If he'd wake up from a nap too early or before he's supposed to, it would just make me feel so tense. I am going to therapy now. It's already helping just to get this all out. My therapist was like, yeah, that's been a lot. I'm really glad that I asked for help. The first 2 weeks, I was not myself. First 4 weeks, I'm still getting back to being myself. Something I'm talking with my therapist about is that being a mom is part of who I am. It's not the only thing I am. And so I'm trying to do things that I like to do, reading, exercising now that I can, spending time with friends, getting out of the house, really important, and I need those things to feel like myself. Because yes, Jax is the light of my life and I love being his mom, I truly do. But I also don't want to lose myself in motherhood. So that is my journey, 12 weeks postpartum. Maybe you can relate to some of this. The past 12 weeks, I couldn't have gotten through this time without all the love and support that I've gotten, so thank you.